Hello and welcome to your daily mobile game sizzle with me, Jon Jordan. Today we're talking about Clash Royale, Supercell's card-based MOBA, and particularly how it's pushing into mobile esports and perhaps what that means for the mobile esports genre. So you can see here, these are some stats. So Supercell has run the first round of its Crown Championship Challenge for Clash Royale, and that's a kind of an open qualification, an online qualification for players of the game. You have to be level 8 in order to participate. We can see there over 27 million players went into this championship, tried to qualify. To qualify to the next round, you had to get 20 wins. So we can see here just under 10,000 players qualified, so not many, quite a small percentage. And then they'll go on to the next round. So very quickly, we can just see the five top countries of qualification, which has some interesting elements. So China, number one, not a great surprise, China being a big country, the biggest country by population, obviously, and Supercell owned by Tencent, so Tencent giving Clash Royale a big push. US number 2, not far behind. Again, not a surprise. US is the most populous developed country, and obviously plays a lot of mobile games. Japan, a bit more of a surprise. It's a fairly large country, but doesn't often play Western games. So interesting that it's really picked up on Clash Royale and certainly this kind of esport competition. And then a big surprise for me, I guess, Mexico. So Mexico is kind of part of North America, I suppose, with Mexico, US, and Canada. And Mexico is actually a fairly large population, but kind of a surprise, really, that so many of them have qualified and been obviously playing a lot of Clash Royale. And then again, Spain. Again, kind of fairly interesting. The top of the European countries, not the biggest population. Germany, France, and the UK bigger. But I guess there's some language kind of push there, perhaps. Mexico and Spain, maybe there's some community kind of interest going on there. Anyway, those are the top 5 countries, and we wait to see what happens with the next round of the Clash Royale Crown Championship Challenge. The wider issue, I think, about mobile esports is an interesting one. So obviously esports have been for a number of years a very big, interesting, perceived growth area for the PC and mobile industries. There's some very big games there operating, so Dota 2, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike, the 3 big ones. And lots of people have been looking to see how can we tap into that for mobile. Lots of people play mobile games. We could certainly, with MOBAs, MOBAs could work on a mobile device. Can we capture some of that esport love? And some companies have gone out to try and do that specifically. So I guess the big example is a Super Evil Megacore, launched Vainglory. It is a mobile MOBA, and it is now, that company is very much set up to make that a successful mobile esport. So it has all the infrastructure around the game. So you need to have a game that works well as an esport game, but equally you have all the infrastructure. You need to have the events. You need to have teams having kind of rosters who are playing that game competitively. You need to have prize money. You need to kind of, that's a big kind of machinery outside the game that you need to get that to work. And depending on what you think, Vainglory have done a very good job in terms of setting out the machinery. Whether Vainglory is a kind of where that ranks as an esport game, you'd say it's the number 1 mobile esport game probably, in terms of a game being set up for mobile esports. But it doesn't seem to have made a big impact in the wider esport world. What's more interesting, at least for me, is that the mobile games that seem to be doing kind of best as esports are the biggest mobile games to that extent. There's some of the big mobile games that clearly can have an esports element to them. So Clash Royale being a prime example. Clash Royale makes $1 billion of revenue a year, nothing to do with esports, but it has a big audience and it clearly can be played as a one-on-one competitive game. So thus it becomes a big esport game. Not that esport is particularly driving revenue. It might be driving retention, engagement, those kind of softer issues. So that may drive monetization in the long run. But it's not, the esports is not kind of running the monetization as it would do in a League of Legends or a Dota 2. Some other games that are kind of having a similar effect. So Summoner's War, again another game that's just announced $1 billion of revenue. It's a squad RPG. You wouldn't think there's a lot of esports relevance in that, but because it has such a big audience already, they are bringing in, they brought in a real-time arena in March, and now they're adding more esports elements and now having esports competitions, events. So offline events where people come together to play, and another game has a global championship. So what you're seeing is these two different ways of approaching mobile esports. There's one where you make a game specifically from the ground up to be mobile esport, and then you try and build a community around it. The other one, which seems to be making, at least in my mind, more progress at the moment, is you have a very big game already making a ton of money, and you just have a big audience, and some of that audience is interested in playing that game competitively as an esport. It's not really, to my mind, a proper use of the word esport, if we can get kind of pedantic about it. And certainly you see coming out of China lots of use of the word esport, and what they mean is competitive mobile games. So again, Tencent and some of its kind of games, it talks a lot about the success of its esport mobile games. What it's actually saying is the success of its mobile games that have a competitive element in them. They're not being designed to be esport games from the ground up, and they have no, at least at the moment, as far as I can see, no that kind of offline infrastructure around them. Which is not to say that couldn't happen. Obviously, China, certainly Tencent, has a lot of cash and a lot of power within the Chinese market and can do things that probably wouldn't work outside of China. So anyway, interesting. I do think it's interesting. The mobile esport market is what we might call nascent. It is developing. There are no winners yet. There are, you could argue, no losers yet as well. It's still kind of up for grabs, but I think there's some clear trends. I do kind of think the easiest way to get a successful mobile esport game is to have a successful mobile game. That seems to be the starting point for me. But we'll see how this develops. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Come back tomorrow and see what we're talking about then. Hi, and thanks for watching right to the end of the video. We always like to see your comments, so please put them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe. And check out some more of our other videos about the mobile games industry. There's two really good examples on your screen right now.